So this is 5 tight ends that could definitely help you going into week 7 of the fantasy football season, especially in a thin position. Zach Ertz, we just learned he's out 3 to 4 weeks, even though he hasn't been producing that much this year. But now we got 5 guys you could go out there and grab right now in your leagues and should be available in most of your leagues. Number 1 guy, even though he's on bye this week, Trey Burton. We saw him rush for a touchdown and then catch one. A nice catch in the corner of the end zone for the Indianapolis Colts. Mo Alley Cox, he was the hot pickup for a few weeks, but he's been out. They still got Jack Doyle there, but Phillip Rivers, he likes targeting Trey Burton, and Burton came through yesterday in PPR leagues with 21 fantasy points, and that's huge production to get out of the tight end position that, let's be honest, only has 2 or 3, 4 great guys at the position, Kittle, Kelsey, and Darren Waller. But besides that, it's a crapshoot pretty much from there. So this guy, Burton, he should be out there in tons of leagues. I know he's available in most of mine. I actually started him in one and got lucky that he had the 21 points. But he should be there. He's on bye this week. And if you're desperate at tight end, which a lot of people are, you should go out there and get him. The second guy is a speculative ad depending on Jonnu Smith's injury. He has an ankle sprain. We don't know if he's going to miss time or not. But Anthony Frisker, if I pronounced that right, had a monster fantasy game in PPR yesterday. 27 fantasy points he had. We saw him last year have a touchdown in the playoffs too. So Tannehill, obviously he likes to target his tight ends. And now Frisker here. If Smith is out, you definitely got to go get him and put him in your lineup, because Tannehill, he likes that short game. He likes throwing to the tight end, the big target. He's got him and Brown. Then you got Henry in the backfield, so it opens the passing game up. So Frisker's out there in about 95% of fantasy leagues. Definitely worth the ad, and might even be my number 1 priority instead of Burton this week, because you could play him and Burton on bye if Jonnu Smith's out. The third guy is Daryl Fels on the Houston Texans that I'm going to add. He's had back-to-back good fantasy games now since Bill O'Brien's been gone and fired as the head coach. He had 13 points and then 20 yesterday in PPR fantasy leagues. So Fels, a big target for Deshaun Watson, who Romeo Crennel now is let loose, and he's getting the ball downfield, and all the production's going up. You see Brandon Cooks coming alive again now. Randall Cobb, Will Fuller, Fels. So Watson's spreading the ball all around the field in that high-octane offense with Watson behind center, and Fels is getting a good piece of those targets and red zone targets and scores. So Fels is out there. He's worth the shot this week. And if you were a Zach Ertz owner as well, to pick up and put in your lineup. This week, if you need help, is Logan Thomas to the Washington football team. We saw him yesterday with another touchdown versus the lonely Giants. And it looks like Allen likes throwing to him, the big tight end, former quarterback, big target in the back of the end zone. He's had some games early in the year. The last 2-3 weeks he dropped off, but now he's back on the tight end map because of the touchdown yesterday. And he has Dallas next week, who just gets toasted on defense down the field. And Thomas, I would put faith in him to pick him up and put him in your lineup next week. Tight end, a very weak position this year, like I said. And if Thomas could get you 4 catches for 45 yards or something in a PPR league, you'll take the 8.5 points from a weak position in tight end that we talk about every week, which is a weak position, and you'll be lucky to get 8 to 10 points weekly from that position if you don't have one of the big 3 or 4 tight ends at the position. And the fifth guy I like, he's on bye, but he's been more into the offense now, is Irv Smith Jr. This guy's an athletic freak. We saw him yesterday. He got the targets. The Vikings, not a great team. They're 1-5 now. Yes, they are going on bye this week, but Irv Smith Jr., he's starting now. Kyle Rudolph, they're writing him off on the offense, and it's time for Smith to get his stuff going. And I could see after the bye week, this Viking offense changing more and playing the young guys even more. We've seen Justin Jefferson break out and become one of the best receivers in fantasy already, and it's only week 7 coming up. So Irv Smith Jr. definitely worth the ad. You probably don't have to waste a waiver on him this week. You could just go in there and get him after the claims are done and save him for after this week, because he could put up numbers. He could get you that 8 to 10 points sweet spot and maybe a touchdown weekly almost to help you. So that's 5 tight ends to pick up on waivers going into week 7 of the football season.